Hi everyone, I am Vishal. Welcome to Hollywood Reporter India, and today we're going to be talking about Vettaiyan. Journalist turned director Gnanavel is not someone you can call a subtle filmmaker. Not only are his scenes super dramatic, but he also likes to dial the volume all the way up to 10 to make sure he doesn't waste a single emotion. This was already clear in the extremely hard-hitting Jai Bhim. In that movie, not only did we have to see poor Manikandan be dragged and shoved into the back of a police jeep, but we also got a shot right after with the wheels of this jeep crushing a toy he had bought for his future son as he was on his way home. That was how we chose to address police brutality, with the softness of a sledgehammer. That's what he wants to do with Vettaiyan too, just that this sledgehammer is more of a pile driver to appeal to the superstar's fan base.
இவ்வளவு பெரிய போலீஸ் ஃபோர்ஸ் வெப்பன்ஸ் பவர் இருந்து ஒரு கிரிமினல் அக்யூட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு சொன்னா அங்க போலீஸ் சரியா வேலை செய்யலன்னு அர்த்தம். சும்மா பேசிட்டு இந்த ப்ரோஜனம் இல்லை, அவனை தூக்குவான். Got it?
Not only are we pushed straight into a high-profile case involving drug peddling bad guys in Kanyakumari, but we also get elaborate follow-ups involving pieces to camera to show how the society is reacting to each development. We get protests, we get TV debates, and we get a dozen reaction shots to make you feel the larger impact of SP Ajith and his trigger-happy police force. You have to call him trigger-happy because he's Vettaiyan, the hunter who can wrap up cases in 48 hours when it otherwise takes 48 years. But to be fair, there's a lot of details in the first half that makes this a lot more than a typical violent cop movie. This is obvious in the way we're first introduced to SI Ajith. It's almost a mirror image of the way he was introduced in a film like Darbar, with goons simply drinking tea waiting for Rajini to kill them. The staging is so flat and uninventive that you can hear T.G. Gnanavel going home for the weekend, telling his stunt choreographer to shoot the whole thing and give Rajinikanth's fans what they want. It's the same with the Manasilayo song as well, the standard issue Rajinikanth intro song featuring a little bit of dance and a lot of advice. These portions are bland and ordinary, but you know the director of Jai Bhim is getting at something by finishing these market-stipulated distractions. And he does this fairly quickly, reclaiming the film after the half hour he spends on fan service.
ஒரு வாரம் ரொம்ப அதிகம். 3 நாள்ல டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டுக்கு நல்ல பேர் வரும்.
An important detail comes in the form of Manju Warrior's Tara as Ajith's wife. You'd be mistaken to think of Tara simply as an accessory, an equal actor to play the superstar's wife. But during moments of great celebration for Ajith and the society, we cut to a worried Tara, the only person who doesn't seem to be celebrating this victory. In hindsight, this single shot works like a premonition for what's to come. Despite her runtime, Tara becomes the film's conscience and Ajith's moral compass, apart from Amitabh Bachchan, who plays Satyadev. Although not developed enough, there's an intriguing dialogue explaining Ajith and Tara's decision to not have children. This thought remains with us when we see Ajith going through something of a dilemma. At first, we only see Tara praying, but later, Ajith joins her at the temple as he tries to find a moment of peace. He begins to toss and turn, unable to go to sleep, realizing that he has failed his own conscience. This is where the film develops into the antithesis to films like Darbar and even Singham. To understand why this is special, you need to understand the risk the director takes by making a film that respects the rule of law over the pure strength of its superstar. You get an idea of just how well the director's ideas are working, not when the audience cheer for Ajith right after a major encounter. Within minutes, the same audience that was cheering falls silent. Amitabh Bachchan's Satyadev is the reason for this silence as Ajith begins to understand the problem with his actions. This is where the film points its finger right at the audience and asks us to participate in a debate. If the silence that followed was anything to go by, the audience was more than convinced. What follows is the writer in T.G. Gnanavel expanding this debate by placing this within the context of a compelling murder case and equally fascinating characters. We get a character named Guna who becomes a moral stand-in for Raja Kanna from Jai Bhim. But unlike that film, in which the decision was already made for us, Vettaiyan catches us being judgmental about Guna as we are fed information about his look and the place he belongs to. It's like we too think like the police does. These separate ideas come together stronger when the film moves into the second half. Satyadev's debates with Ajith brings about a transformation in him. From reading Subhash Chandra Bose, he begins to become more of an Ambedkarite. What adds a third layer to this ideological debate is how we get shots of Thiruvalluvar's statue in and around Kanyakumari as though he too is taking part as a spectator. The result is a fairly engaging cop drama that extends the politics of films like Janagana Mana and Jai Bhim. This, despite the many instances where the film feels rushed in order to accommodate far too many backstories. These subplots happen so quickly and at times so conveniently that we barely get the time to really soak in any emotion, no matter how important they are. Strangely, the action scenes are entirely odd and clunky, like they were shot when the action choreographer went home for the weekend. But in a film about encounter killings, it kinda makes sense that the action scenes look so bland. Fahadh Faasil adds a lot to this film to make these portions a lot less jarring. Not just as a reformed thief, but also as the emotional, comical core that makes the film seem real and rooted. The same goes with the earnest Dasera Vijayan, becoming an almost daughter-like character to Athiyan. We also get a much subtler Anirudh who decides to pull back to use his heaviest score only when it's absolutely needed. And you also kind of understand what the director meant by saying we'll see traces of good old Rajini, especially given the greyness of his character. It's finally a film that allows him to make a mistake and remain a human as he evolves from a flawed, ignorant individual blinded by his ways to a more compassionate protector. It takes some courage to make this film and call it Vettaiyan, only to use the entire duration to deconstruct this title. You might have some issues with it, but it will surely make you rethink who you should be whistling for at the movies. That's my review for Vettaiyan. If you like this review, please hit like and subscribe to the Hollywood Reporter India.